so offensive.
And informative.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast. This is episode 150.
150.
It feels like that's a bit of a milestone. But before we get to that, I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Adam Bell.
Hey, Peter.
Hello, Adam. 150.
150.
Did we ever think we would get this far?
Nope. But I mean,
nope.
We set a streak of one. And then we went every week we set a new streak of one.
Mm-hmm. We're continuing. Well, it's just like the push-ups now. We've been doing our 100 push-ups per day for well over a year now.
Yeah.
And I have not done my 100 push-ups maybe 3 days out of that time period. But there have been several days when I did like 200. Right. So on average, I have definitely done more than 100 push-ups per day over the last year plus now. So I like it. I like the results. You know, like I'm not like super jacked and everything, but my upper body is definitely in better shape, and it doesn't feel like, you know, a lot of impact. You know, it's like when I was doing like tons of Aikido and Krav Maga at the same time, a lot of upper body work, I was probably in comparable shape, but I'm not as bruised or broken as I was back then.
No, it's not nearly as taxing as on everything, you know, and some people are like, well, you hurt your shoulders, you do them that way. Well, I'm not saying do 100 straight. I mean, that will hurt your shoulders. Absolutely.
It can. I mean, until you get good at it. And then
yeah.
I'm sure there are plenty of people who can bust out 100 push-ups for, you know, like nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, it turns the man boobs back into pecs.
Turns the moobs into pecs.
Into pecs.
So
that's the episode title right there. Turning the
moobs
man
into
boobs
pecs.
Moobs into pecs.
Moves into pecs. I love it. So what's new in the world of Adam these days?
Oh, well, we got back from family vacation, so had 12 days out west. That was fun with just the four of us, so our immediate family, and we had a good time, and it was nice and cool out west. So we were in Wyoming and South Dakota and Colorado in the mountains and hiking and seeing the sights. And 4th of July, we were in South Dakota and at Mount Rushmore. And, can't get more patriotic than that.
That doesn't get much. No, I saw you send me a couple of pictures from time to time. I was like, hey, that's Mount Rushmore. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'd never been there before. There were plenty of people out there and out and about. I wouldn't say for that area, I would say they probably consider that to be really crowded. For a Bostonian, I would say you'd be like, this is perfect. I've got so much room.
Well, keep in mind, I did grow up in Vermont, where 3 people in the same square mile was considered a crowd. But
right. But you have experienced big city. You know what a real crowd is.
I worked in Midtown and in the World Trade Center, the busiest place on earth. I know crowds.
Yeah. So
you mentioned the coolness.
Yes.
And last night, as I was going to bed, I made the mistake of listening to the latest episode of Cyber. It's Vice.com's tech podcast. And the title was, "It's not the heat, it's the humidity that's killing us."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
well, they talked about the phenomenon known as wet bulb conditions, which is temperatures and humidity levels at which humans spontaneously die because of the temperature, because essentially you don't sweat anymore. Sweating becomes ineffective because of the humidity level. It's like being in a sauna, essentially. And when that happens is you can't shed body heat and you have heat stroke and boom, done. So the concern is that because of global warming, or if you want to call it climate change, this is becoming more of a common thing. And now they're predicting, like in the next 10 to 20 years, we may have climate refugees showing up.
That is, well, yes, that is my business opportunity that I'm trying to figure out. That will happen. The ice caps are melting. The glaciers are melting. That's a fact. We are in climate change or global warming, whatever you want to call it. We are 10,000 years outside of an ice age, and we don't appear to be going back into an ice age. So there's only going to be more water. So all of these things that are on the ocean right now will be wet geologically soon.
So I was going to say, so what do we do? Buy boats?
I don't know. That is exact. We see a need, we see a problem. Now we have to come up with a solution. What's the solution? That's where the money is.
There you go. And also maybe where life is too, because
well, at one point, our entire planet was covered in water. I mean, so it's not inconceivable.
Inconceivable. Oh, brother. Well, there we go. Let's let that hang for a minute just to give people a second to digest this. And then we can start to move on to something else.
Yeah. So but talking about the humidity out west, what was nice about that was it was 75, sometimes 80, but the humidity was 35%.
Yeah.
It was so pleasant.
Yeah.
And now on the other side of that is it was very drying. A very mild hike, I drank 2 liters of water. I mean, I drink normally 2 liters of water on a 6-mile hike up 7,000 feet elevation. But
I drink that normally, like in a day. That's my minimum.
Yeah. Well, so we started out at the highest point in Tennessee in our elevation out west.
Okay.
We started at 7,700 feet above sea level and went all the way up to 1,400 feet above sea level at Pikes Peak.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So I didn't think that elevation. I mean, I've been at elevation. I go to Mexico, but we kind of work our way into the elevation. So we start out in Mexico City, and then we keep getting higher over a 24 or 48-hour period. But we were just thrust into, that height and then going higher. And I actually got lightheaded at 12,000 feet above sea level. I mean, I wasn't like I was going to faint, and it didn't make me sick, but I just felt, I was like, my head's
a couple miles up there, man. That's pretty high.
Yeah. I was like, this is pretty slim. I'm just going to make sure I drink lots of water. If I do ever, I never did feel faint, but if I ever do feel faint, there's things I know to do to not pass out, So do those things, just be conscious, and had a good time. But there were some people who were in less shape than me. And I was like, good luck.
Good luck. I'm not carrying you up that hill.
Yeah.
We're back down.
We'll roll you down, but I'm not carrying you.
Exactly. Oh, brother. So have you, did you submit and apply your application for forgiveness of your payroll protection plan loan?
The original, like back in 2020? Yes.
First draw.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I applied, I received it, everything, it all processed through 2020.
I just submitted mine. I was not able for a second draw because I actually saw an uptick in business as opposed to down.
Oh yeah. So I didn't even take a second draw. I mean, I didn't even, well, one, I didn't apply because
same.
For the first one, nobody knew. Who knew what was going to happen? So I felt like I needed to do this for the vitality of my company. I couldn't take a chance. But then, from my standpoint, everything was up. IT was up, and as far as I could tell, it was only going to continue to go up. So I didn't pursue the second one. Honestly, I was like, I don't feel right about requesting it because I don't need it. There are people who need it. I don't need it. Let the people in need have it.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. All right. Well, what else we got? Should we jump right into our main topic?
Well, yeah, I guess so. It's been an interesting last 2 weeks for cybersecurity for me.
Are you using Kaseya these days?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, my condolences.
So the good thing is, we did not have, our server is, it's an on-premise server, and the on-premise servers were the ones who were compromised. Kaseya's cloud services, my last thing that I heard was they were not at risk. They were never at risk. Kaseya, they didn't have the same vulnerabilities as the on-prem servers.
Yep.
So our servers were hosted by our cooperative group, the 20, and they did, ours were not compromised. They were never touched. They were like everybody else. I think that they could have been compromised if they had been a target, but they were not. None of our clients. I actually don't even know anybody who is actually breached. I do know people who were breached.
Right.
But I don't know any. So I was very grateful. It was like, there was nothing I could do. It wasn't
turn stuff off.
Well, yeah. That's what we did. We turned the servers off. But what I mean is there was nothing that I could do as a company to have prevented the problem.
Except didn't use a different vendor who didn't get breached.
Well, yeah, but who is that?
Bingo.
SolarWinds got breached. Well, they was like, yeah, not us. And
this time.
So it's all about this time, and that's the scary thing is like, well, there's, like I said, there was nothing that I could have done. I couldn't have conceived of the questions to ask without having some sort of insight. I wouldn't have come up with them on my own. It was third party patching, essentially. And there was nothing I could do about that because that part was being outsourced to another company who was doing it. And they didn't do anything wrong either, because the 20, they are doing diligent patching. They, every Tuesday, I don't remember what the Tuesday, it doesn't match up with Microsoft. I think it's Thursday. I get an email saying, reminder, tonight's the VSA server patches and updates, so we were doing all the things that we could do that we thought was right and still wasn't enough.
And this is why supply chain attacks are so successful, because there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is wait for your vendor to fix that.
So what do you mean by a supply chain attack, Peter?
Well, funny you should mention that, Adam. Essentially, Kaseya was the system or the company or the software platform that got attacked in this case, but they weren't the real target. The real target was people like you and your customers, who are the ones with the software installed. So, Kaseya was just a gateway into wherever, just like SolarWinds. SolarWinds, when they got breached, they were used to get a foothold into things like, the Department of Defense. So, yeah, interesting times that we're living in here. But yeah, that's what a supply chain attack is when you go after you go after somebody upstream, so to speak, you know? So if you think of you and your customers are downstream and upstream from you is Kaseya, if you pollute the water at the Kaseya level, your water gets polluted as well.
Yeah. Well, and you know, the other scary part of those things is if somebody got into Kaseya, or anything at the head of the supply chain, like you said, and was able to push software, you could push software to hundreds of thousands of computers that does nothing nefarious today. Waits for, you know, it's the files today are, you could write a little file that could be 50K that would sit on a location somewhere that doesn't activate for a year.
Yep. And that's the thing, you know, we see dwell time like that. The average dwell time of attackers did go down dramatically recently. However, it is still like usually in the, you know, in the case of months, as opposed to, you know, it used to be close to like a year a while ago. So it's good that it's down, but it's still up there.
Well, if I were going to do something like that, you know, hacks, I mean, put a virus out there, I would want to immediately, as soon as it hit, immediately start doing what it needs to do before anybody ever has any opportunity to write anything against it, or wait. Let's just wait and see how big this payload could get. And I would tend to lean towards that, you know, just because. Keep it growing.
Just because. But the thing is, the longer you just wait, the longer the good guys have a chance to find you and detect you, you know? So that's the thing, is you got to measure that. How long do you want to stay hidden versus, you know, when is the opportune time to jump? So
go big or go home.
There you go. All right. What else?
I thought of something last week. So cryptocurrency.
Oh, that again.
So cryptocurrency, you made money on that. I lost money on that. I bought high and sold low.
Yeah, try the opposite next time.
Okay, I knew I had something wrong.
So it'll work better the other way around for you anyway. Yeah.
So I did that wrong and did not do well and got out of it. I mean, I lost 50% of what I put in it, but I didn't put in an awful lot. So,
well, I was just going to say, how much were we talking? Was this a ton or was this play money?
It was more than I wanted. I didn't want to lose it.
Well, you never want to lose money, right? I mean, if you do that, you can just like start lighting cigars with $100 bills or something.
Yeah, I won't do that. So yeah, it was painful enough that I went, dang. But
dang.
It was dang. It wasn't a curse word. It was just dang.
Dang. Oh, dang.
I could have had a good time with that money. Instead, I didn't.
There you go.
But so what I got is I got an email from my financial advisor. It was a blast to everybody. And he was talking about the percentage of businesses that will even accept cryptocurrency. And you know, it was point with 4 zeros in front of it. 1% of businesses will even accept cryptocurrency. He was pretty much saying, why would you put your 100% spendable dollars that will spend anywhere in the world with any business into cryptocurrency and limit your spending opportunity? I'm like, heck yeah, he's right.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just it. Yeah, the idea is you don't put it in there as a vehicle for purchasing power. You're putting it in there as an investment, and you're hoping to, you know, make money on it right now. So, unless, of course, you are a ransomware operator like REvil, and you're just cashing in and using. That's how you get paid. That's different.
Yeah. But you know, it makes no It makes no sense. I mean, we've got a good fiat system. Let's use it.
Yeah, but the fiat system it's no different from this other fiat system. It's just
Yeah.
that was something I learned in my macroeconomics class, was interesting about how, like, when Roosevelt decided to go off the gold standard, about they were just making up the rates and the conversion rates and stuff. It was just like, this sounds good. What do you think? Like 0.73? Yeah, that's good.
Sounds fair.
Yeah. And literally it was fascinating. This was a really interesting conversation. It was on some NPR podcast. I forgot where they did the research on this.
Okay.
But literally, when they decided to move off the gold standard, they were just making up the rates. This is what we'll charge. This is what the Federal Reserve will charge on interest rates. Does that sound good? Yeah, that sounds good. Well, we didn't want to make it like a perfectly round number, because that would seem too obvious. So we, they chose these, like semi-odd numbers. And so I was just like, dude, that is, wow.
Isn't
Just
that what we're
wow.
doing now? I mean, we take $1 trillion. Here, Peter, here's $1 trillion. Well, thank you, Adam. How many?
We like to think that there's a little more theory in this now, because we're following macroeconomic theory and trying to manage inflation, trying to manage
that was a Freudian slip if I ever heard one.
Exactly. Yeah. Freudian slip is, in case you don't know, that's when you say one thing but you mean your mother. So yeah, in inflation, but like we're following the business cycle, and unemployment will ebb and flow, and so this was a few classes ago, but I took a macroeconomics class for the first time, and I learned how that works, and so essentially they're adjusting these interest rates and stuff so as to make the unemployment rate go up or down accordingly, and that's why we're doing this now, we being the Federal Reserve. But that brings us on to our next topic. Speaking of classes, so 2 weeks ago I finished my class on critical inquiry, which I've raved about on this podcast before, and I'm still using it. I'm definitely revisiting and reappropriating some of the notes and lectures from my teacher and incorporating those into the team of analysts that I manage for one of my clients. But also now I started my my final class in finishing my degree in IS, and that started on July 5th. Nice. And I also finished all of the assignments on July 5th.
Well, how'd you do that, Peter?
Well, it's pace yourself. It's a 7-week accelerated class. My girlfriend was out of town that weekend. The weather was horrible. So I essentially sat inside and just cranked out one assignment after another. And the only thing I have left to do are the discussion posts, which I need to sign in for every week, and just, but I've written all of mine. I've written them all. So I just need to post them, and then I have to reply to other people. So I could even have posted all 7 of my initial posts and could have submitted all my assignments. I didn't submit all of them. I did submit a couple of assignments a week early that I just don't want to fly that far above, under radar or above radar. I don't want to make that much of a scene, so I'm just going to like dole them out as I go along. But I do have to participate in the discussion and, show some engagement over the next 5 weeks to go. So
then after this class, you'll have your degree?
I'll have my degree.
Cheers.
Cheers. And then what do I do after that? I have no idea.
Yeah. So, now you can get a job.
Yeah, great. Perfect. What an idea. That's great. I am, though, the next thing I am studying, and I've actually already started this since I finished all the work for this class, is I am studying, setting up to get my AWS certifications.
Hey,
this is
that's
something. Yeah. So this is something I had started back in 2016. And then I got the contract with the hospital, and that pretty much took a lot of my time. And since they were my main engagement and they're very cloud averse, I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to focus a lot of time on cloud right now. So the good news is, though, is I purchased this AWS training back in 2016, and it was updated in 2020, and I have access to the updated content.
Okay.
So that's pretty slick. So I'm starting with just the baseline AWS, I think it's associate or something like that, the entry level certification. And then I will also then pursue from there the AWS security consultant or security something or other certification. So that's my next target.
See, we focused on Microsoft for ours, Azure.
Now, I was going to say, did you focus on Azure or Azure? Or was it Azure?
It was Azure.
It was Azure. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's the other one that I've heard of, Azure. That was the one I considered, but I've never considered training or getting certification in Azure or in Azores.
Azores.
Yeah.
They're the next thing after or before a Bezor.
Yeah, somewhere near Spain, I think. I just hate it, like when we have words that are like, these words predated their common use in technology, but now that they're becoming, appropriated, we have to pronounce them differently and make up like, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm going to go with this. Like you could look up how it's actually pronounced. That's another option.
When I was 3, I had a crayon and it was blue and it said Azure.
There you go. So it didn't say Azure?
It didn't say Azure.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
It didn't have the U with 2 dots over it to make it happy.
Yes, an umlaut. a happy U, exactly. Oh, brother. All right. What else we got besides certifications and my degree going away or showing up or something?
Azure. Did you get some new earbuds?
The saga continues. So as you know, and we have spoken many times on the podcast, I am a fan of the Jabra Elite 65T earbuds.
That's what I have.
Now, if you're watching the video, you'll notice that I have one in my right ear.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice that I don't have one in my left ear.
Right.
And it's not because the right one is primary and the left is secondary, which is my only gripe about the Jabras.
Yeah.
It's because the other day, last weekend, I was out for a run with my running buddy, and I had, since I was running with him, I took my earbuds out. I stuck them in my flip belt, and at somewhere along the run, one of them came out. And I don't know if it was, if it happened while I was running. I don't think so, because it was tucked in there fairly well. I will put that down as a future nifty, is my flip belt, because I do generally like it, even though it did lose an earbud. But I did lose one. So I did retrace my steps, was not able to find it. I did not retrace all 6 miles of our run that day, but I did go back to the parking lot where his car was parked, where we, got in, and I figured maybe if I lost it there, and he looked in his car and didn't find it.
Yeah.
But I did find a replacement left only one on eBay for $15.
Huh.
Yep. Now this time, you may recall the saga that I had last time was amplified by the fact that I had forgotten that I had a warranty.
Uh-huh.
I did check the warranty this time. Does not cover lost or stolen.
Yeah.
I tried. So I figured, you know what, for $15, okay, whatever. Yeah. I'll just do it. And again, I have a spare set now. So I have 2 pairs. Mm-hmm. So my original plan was this one was just going to sit here with the computer, because I am now using this. I did also buy a $9 USB to Bluetooth adapter. Mm-hmm. So now my 7-year-old desktop, which is still perfectly serviceable, has Bluetooth capability, whereas last week it did not. And so I can do that and not have any echo or, hissing or whatever from the stereo speakers and stuff. So that's helpful.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was my saga, the Jabra Elite 65T saga continuing. Speaking of sagas continuing, I won't go into all the details of my hate relationship with AT&T Wireless.
Uh-huh. I
But
hate
they
that
did.
less right now.
Well, they did charge me $56, which includes the discounts for 3 days of service on my Apple Watch that I had in June.
Well, that's worth $56.
Oh, absolutely not. So AT&T, you are just on my list. You are on the I will never do business with you again list. Goodbye. Unless you somehow buy Verizon. It's not happening. Yeah. ConnectWise, they were on my list. And then, of course, they bought Continuum. You've seen how that's going. It's just like when you have to deal with the company, it's insane. Months go by and they're like, oh, we don't know how to. Is someone helping you with this? Oh, no one's helping with this. Hey, do you still need help with this? Okay, we'll get you someone. Another month goes by. Oh, hey, did you still need help with this? Like, no, don't worry. Eventually, all of your customers will just go away. It's cool.
Yeah, they'll pass on, or they'll pass on you.
Yeah, so I'm kind of stuck with them because I do still use them for Continuum, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have like 3 systems under their management right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not core to what I do, so it's not that big a deal. But when I have to interface with the ConnectWise side of things, oh, it's painful. It's so painful.
Yeah. Well, it saved our bacon. The ConnectWise control. We put control on all computers, as well as Kaseya VSA. We can you can get remote access to either way, but Screen Connect is so easy.
Now, do you have to, if you have agents deployed with it, does it deploy automatically, or do you have to push it out somehow?
Kaseya or Screen Connect?
Screen Connect.
Yeah, we have to. Well, there may be ways to do it, but we install it manually as part of it.
Because using, so I'm still like using the old Continuum style, whereas when you used to put their agent on, they would automatically push out log me in along with their other stuff.
Yeah.
It's still not clear to me whether they're going to automatically push out Screen Connect to replace this or not. Mm-hmm. I just don't know. And I can't get an answer. Like that was one of the questions I was asking them for literally months. And they just sent me to this document. I was like, this document does not answer my question. This is why I'm asking. Yeah. Oh, we'll see if we can find someone. Oh, this person's not your account manager anymore. That's happened. Count it 3 times in the email chain where I'm trying to contact someone. Person A contacts me. I reply. I don't get any response. I escalate. Person B comes back and says, oh, they're not here anymore. I can help you. Do you still have this problem? I reply, no answer. Person C comes in. This person is not here anymore. Are you freaking kidding me? So apparently everybody is just making moves in jobs these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, the IT market is very difficult to fill a good position.
Bingo.
Right now, I'm having a very difficult time filling my system administrator need. Somebody with 10 years of experience. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who's...
So you're looking at a senior person.
Senior, yeah.
10 years is... That's a lot in today's job market. That's a lot.
Well, I mean, a two-year system admin is a noob.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you've been doing something for 10 years, that's fairly, that's ambitious. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. But Amazon's grabbing them, Oracle's grabbing them. So they're hard to get. Now I can get the level 1s, level 2s. There's tons of level 1s. There's lots of those out there. The level 2s are a little bit harder, but I have some things that I can appeal. I'm a better fit company-wise for somebody who wants a decent lifestyle at level 2 than a Dell, an Oracle, and Amazon. I can beat them. Because I can beat them in price and I can beat them in, good place to work. Now the system admin, the senior system admin, they can outprice me. I mean, they may make it a worse place to work, but they'll outprice me.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is quality of life. I'm going to find an article that I read. We'll add this into the show notes, but there was an article, I think it was earlier this week, about how the someone has called for a 4-day work week, and apparently Iceland is pursuing this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm putting a link right in the show notes on that. But this was an interesting article. And, like the thing is, like, I have long been a proponent of, when, you do your work, right? I don't care how long it takes to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just do your work. But I told that when I started working at the hospital, I said, if your desire is to have somebody sitting here in a chair, and I can be sitting here, blowing bubbles in my milk, not doing anything, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can let me work on my own schedule and do what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, the flip side is that means, the employer could conceivably pile on an infinite amount of work that you could never actually finish, and therefore you're always working. But there's got to be a little bit of a give and take, and when it comes to that. How do you approach that with your staff?
Well, we have so much work. They're never, I mean, they're never done, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But we try to, we do encourage people to step away. We encourage people to take their lunch. We do encourage people to learn other things. But as far as the workload goes, there's there's never a lack of it.
Right. So how do you approach, how do you, how do you know when they're doing enough work? Is it 40
Well,
hours a week? Is it 60 hours a week?
so we do calculate, we do track how many hours that they work. We don't necessarily dictate, well, this task should have only taken you 2 hours and it took you three. Oh my goodness. No, we don't count on that. But we do measure, we have to measure how much time a person is working so that we know when they need help.
Yep.
So they
Yeah.
they do quantify their time as administrative or this, that, and the other, and then the other side of that is billable. And if all of a sudden, if somebody's billable 48 hours out of the week, they don't have enough time
That's
because
a good employee.
well, they're a good employee, but actually they're not.
They're overworked.
They're overworked. They A good employee to me is somebody who's billable, say 30 hours a week. Yep. Because then they have time to do their administrative work. They have time to make phone calls. They have time to make emails. They have time to possibly write a script, rather than just fighting fires all day. Yep. Fighting fires kills your brain. You didn't learn anything. You probably learned something. You probably learned how to fix that particular problem, but you didn't learn anything that you really wanted to learn. So for me, a healthy team is somebody who has all the work that they need to do, but then has to have some free time. They have to have some time to think and come up with new solutions of these big pictures. And then they also need some time for free thought about our clients' problems. Because wait a minute, so that domain controller was doing this. I wonder if I did this, that would fix that problem. If they don't have that time to wonder, they'll never come up with the long-term solution.
Yeah, and that gets to free thinking and critical inquiry, and this is a challenge that I and the COO of this company that I'm going to be meeting with today are having. Is we have people who have technical skills, but they don't have independent and creative and critical thinking skills. Mm-hmm. They're like, essentially they think that their job is to do exactly what they are told and push buttons. Yeah. I got news for you. I can automate that.
Yeah.
I don't need you to just come in and push buttons. I need you to, push a button, think about the result, analyze it, and take the appropriate action.
Yeah.
And I've had this discussion with the team of analysts that I manage for that hospital. Is like, you guys need to look at stuff and like, I can write you a playbook. And I love the analogy is like I say, going back to my Krav Maga experience, I can teach you how to block a punch. I can teach you how to block a kick. I can teach you how to disarm a gun or a knife. But I can't tell you, like when you walk into that back alley, when some guy jumps out at you, which one of those things and in which sequence you're going to need to apply them. You need to be able to do that yourself.
Yeah.
But the way these guys act, they're like, oh, this guy just told me to give me his wallet. Well, or give him my wallet. What do I do?
I'm gonna block his kick. Really?
Huh?
He just punched you and stabbed you and took your wallet.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's just it. It's hard, and you can teach people these things, but only so much, you can't teach them like when you do, you can tell them things, but you can't, like, if you don't remember to think critically, I can't tell you every step of the way when you need to think critically. You gotta, I need a little engagement here, guys. You gotta help me here. So.
Yeah. That's my ideal workplace. That's my dream of what my company looks like. Everybody has plenty of work to do, and they have the free time to do their job better and more efficiently and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Some work is just plain work, but it doesn't have to be a bad time.
Yeah. Oh, that's just it. There's always going to be aspects of every job that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
But, hopefully they are outweighed by the work that you do like.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
So what else we got?
So I think we're steadily approaching our time because we got a little bit started early.
We did good today. Do you have anything nifty to close us out on a high note?
I do have a nifty. So, right now we're having a hardware shortage around the world. Intel chips, other chips, just getting computers manufactured. It's kind of strange. It's like
monitors.
Man, I bought 4 monitors, 4 27-inch monitors in April. Yep. That exact same model, the exact same, not the upgraded, not previous, the exact same model costs $50 more per monitor this month than April.
I had so one of my largest clients in terms of sales these days, I keep on telling them, this is a company with like, I don't know, approaching 200 employees now. They still buy everything one piece on demand. And I've been telling them for years that this is a bad idea, and yet they keep doing it. Mm-hmm. Well, this time last week, they said, I need 4 more monitors. I was like, okay, I got a quote. I found one of my distributors had 8 of them in stock. I put the order in. No, the price was up a little high, but I got them. I put in my order for 4. I got 1.
Oh.
By the time I put it in, it was the only one left. And now the 3 are in back order. I was like, well, now your options are, you got to upgrade to 27-inch because that's the only ones we have. And it's going to cost you, X dollars more. Mm-hmm. Or I can get you the same ones. So for the same price, I can get you these, which are 21-inch, smaller. Mm-hmm. What's it going to be?
Yeah.
I told you so. I've been telling you so. I tell you so every single time you order something. It's like you need to have at least a few laptops on hand. Have 1% inventory. That means you should have 2 laptops, 2 spare monitors, a couple of keyboards. You need to have this.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to spend so much money. Like, you're spending the money. You're spending the money. You're already spending the money. Your only thing you're doing is you are introducing a delay in servicing your end users.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that comes to, I've got a problem. I need a solution. So my typical go-to computers are Dell. But I've been looking for an alternative when I've had a hard time finding Dell. And so I've become a Carbon Systems reseller. So that means that I can buy from them directly. They don't sell directly; they only sell through partners. And
Okay.
then I I handle the warranty on them, which I'm not thrilled about that, honestly. Uh,
Ah,
but their warranty process is replacement. So my guys aren't replacing motherboards. So they have an Intel NUC and they have the Iridium laptops. And the Intel NUC is obviously Intel. The Carbon Systems Iridium laptop is an Intel based custom system. I don't know where they're having it manufactured, but it's a light comparable to a Latitude. By default, it comes with an i7, 16 gig of RAM, and a 500 gig SSD drive, as well as all the USB. Everything's USB-C on it. There are no USB. Actually, there are USB ports on it, and the HDMI out. So it's got everything. Everything that you'd be like, I need in a business laptop is in it.
Yep.
The price isn't bad either. It's $1,395 for that laptop. Um, that's what I've been buying for my team. I've been able to. They use a Wavelink USB-C docking station, so we can put the dual monitors on it. I have the guys have a dual monitor system dock at home and at the office, so they just take that laptop back and forth everywhere they go. It's light. It's got good battery life. We've had zero problems with it, like no driver issues or any compatibility issues. And so we've been really pleased with them. And they'll do all the cool stuff from an IT standpoint of an MSP that you would want. All right, I want Intune set up on this computer. I want, and you provide them the Intune information or, however the other setups that you might want on it. So you could drop ship it directly to a user ready to go. They open it
That's
up,
nice.
they enter in their office email address and password. The laptop is set up and installs all their stuff exactly as it needs to be. They would even do an image on your computer if you were inclined. I'm
Okay.
not inclined, but
I'm not inclined.
well, it's just a lot of maintenance to keep up with, and I don't have enough volume to warrant that. I buy, depending on what's happening, I may buy 3 this month, I may buy 10 next month, you know.
Right.
So you never know, and they're all for different customers. So I couldn't have the same image for 40 different clients, and
Right.
it's better just to send it out with Intune and go with it. So.
Yep. All right. All right.
Yeah, I've had, and the other thing is they're fast. They're either in stock or they're out of stock. And we had a delay in from June. So there was a week there that the laptops were unavailable, a couple weeks there actually. And then they're immediately, but I ordered it on Monday. I've got a laptop sitting here down on the floor for me to program that I got on Wednesday.
That's a nice turnaround.
Yeah.
That's better than I want to order this and great, we'll have them to you by November.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the equivalent now, there are some Dell's equivalent would be their XPS series.
It's
And
pretty beefy.
yeah, and I do like the XPS. I bought an XPS for myself and gave it to my daughter to take to college, and she's using it and it's been bulletproof. But that thing is $2,000 for the same
Yeah.
laptop.
Yeah.
Now
So price wise, you're able to make a decent margin. They're competitive with Dell or Lenovo or others.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I make a little bit on it, but hardware is not my thing.
Right.
Service is my, that's where I make my money. I charge enough for it to be worth my time to do, but not necessarily make it a burden to the client.
Yep. Yep.
Like this is more or less
That's
a handling fee.
exactly. Yeah. That's fair.
Because
Cool.
I gotta pay for it. I gotta wait for them to pay me. Then I gotta turn around and pay. There's I'm taking care of the administrative cost of buying hardware for somebody.
Yep.
So
There you go. And that's fair that you should get paid for that. So
yeah,
there you go.
yeah, it's not free.
Time ain't free. All right. Well, on that note, I'm running low on my own free time, so I need to get going. So before we head out, since I brought us in, why don't you show our listeners, our dear listener, the door?
Yeah, let me show you to the door. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. We do want your feedback. We would like, if you would like to discuss a particular topic or you'd like us to discuss in more detail a particular topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. There's a form fill there. You could also reach us at our websites. Peter's got a bunch of them: paradigmcc.com, yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbeer.com. Yes. And you can reach me at sublimecomp.com. I try to make it simple. And then you could probably find us on Twitter too.
I like having the whole separation of work from personal, from personal. So what about Nikolaidis.com? Did you say that one too?
Nikolaidis.com. No, I didn't say that one.
Oh man. So how can I separate personal if I don't give you my personal?
Yeah. Nikolaidis.com. Don't forget about that.
Well, on that note, I think that it's time that we hit the big red button.
Boom.